He's not just any horse, he's one of Europe's most famous race horses from the Alag stables near the Hungarian capital Budapest. His name is Overdose.
Overdose, 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 overdose.
Over the space of 3 years, Overdose won all 12 of the races he was in. He made Hungary proud. His owner bought him for less than €3,000 in England 4 years ago.
He's the first success story in Hungary for years. He's more than a horse. He's a symbol of Hungarian success, a national symbol.
Hungarians grew to identify so closely with Overdose that they had a flashback of what they felt was treachery. At the prestigious Longchamp track in Paris, he was far in the lead when the race was halted, because another horse made a false start. There was a rerun, but Overdose stayed out, his owners fearing a risk of injury. The French have done it again, the nation cried, never having forgotten the 1920 Treaty of Trianon, negotiated under French auspices, which obliged Hungary to cede 2/3 of its territory then to its neighbours. The people in the regions concerned today make up one of Europe's biggest ethnic minorities. Slovakia counts more than 500,000 of them. That is more than 10% of that country's population. Many are concentrated in the south, not far from the Hungarian border. This is where Overdose's owner lives.
My dream as a Hungarian in Slovakia, with a stable registered in Hungary, was to have a horse which would represent the region, Hungary, Slovakia, the Czech Republic and Austria, in Europe's top races. The paradox for me as a Slovak citizen is that when Overdose wins a race in Bratislava in Slovakia, the Hungarian national anthem gets played.
Komárno is the biggest town on the Hungary-Slovakia border. It was cut in two after World War I. A memorial stands here erected by the Slovak Nationalist Party in a gesture of defiance toward the majority Hungarian population. This act does not sit well with them, notably denounced by a Komárno association that defends the rights of the Hungarian community. Its director, a former priest, now a businessman, speaks out in memory of those he describes as the victims of Trianon. His own grandfather lost all his farmland.
The land here has been stripped, left to ruin, the factories shut, nothing renewed. To see new installations, you have to go beyond the Vag River. They're in full operation. It's all new industry in the north. The policy toward the south is very bad, and even the Slovaks who aren't of Hungarian extraction suffer. In 1920, there were almost 1 million Hungarians in Czechoslovakia. The latest census counts 500,000 now, maximum. The Hungarians of Slovakia who have stayed mustn't also disappear over the next 90 years.
Historic references flourish in Komárno, at times unsettling for the Slovaks. The two communities live in harmony for the most part, we are told, and yet a law created last year restricted the use of the Hungarian language in towns where those speakers form the majority. This lawyer is trying to have the law amended.
Often Slovakia's Hungarians don't dare speak the Hungarian language in public places or in shops. They think it's against the law, even if it's not the case. But the information isn't clear, and this administrative law ends up encroaching on privacy and human rights.
A few kilometers away in the town of Dunajska Streda, the members of the Matica Slovenska club do not agree. They promote Slovak culture and identity in a town where 80% of the inhabitants are of Hungarian origin. They worry about possible secessionists.
Relations between Slovak and Hungarian citizens are very good. Coexistence is optimal and peaceful. But at political levels, it's a different story. There isn't a single Slovak on the town council here. Even Slovakian language schools have Hungarian principals. In institutions and companies, all the people in charge are Hungarians. The head of the cultural centre, the banks. If you don't speak Hungarian here, you won't find a job. A Slovak trying to make it here has real trouble.
None of the Hungarians of Slovakia we met harboured ideas of autonomy, but many were enthusiastic about a recent law passed in Hungary proposing double nationality for Hungarian minorities outside Hungary. The Slovak parliament's response was to threaten any applicant for that with a €3,000 fine and loss of his or her Slovak citizenship. This teacher at a Hungarian language village school in southern Slovakia says he is applying anyway.
It's a risk, but I don't really regret it. The problem is that as a civil servant, I rely on the town hall. Even if it protects me, it's subsidized by the state. So indirectly, I depend on the state. And in that case, I could be fired from my teaching job. But I think that the time has come under a democracy where it should be possible to choose which country we want to belong to, according to our feeling of identity, be able to decide whether or not to belong to a pan-Hungarian whole, even if it's only symbolic.
That is the least of people's worries in this small border village, where the distance from the neighbours in Hungary is so small. The mayor is Slovak, while most of the village is Hungarian. It's not the Hungarian citizenship law or the Slovak language law that are bothering them.
There's no difference here between Hungarians and Slovaks. Everybody speaks both languages. We've always lived well side by side.
The border river flooding keeps destroying the bridges that the communities on both sides worked together to build after Slovakia and Hungary became Schengen countries in 2007.
My daughter got married and went to live on the Hungarian side 15 years ago. It's not far, but we have to drive 25 kilometers to see her. Before, we just crossed the bridge. People came here on foot or by bike to do their shopping. They came to the cemetery, to the church for weddings, without having to take the bus or car.
The Ipoli River level rises more each year. There used to be a stone bridge, but the Germans demolished it in World War II. The villages on either bank dream of having a solid crossing again that cars could go over. It would help the region's tourism and economy.
Megvannak a tervek, megvannak a szükséges engedélyek.
All the plans are done, official permission's been given, and we have the money. The European Union is ready to pay for the bridge because it's a cross-border project according to its specifications. The only thing missing is a signed agreement between the two governments. Political will is the problem. In reality, the politicians are not looking to improve relations between Slovakia and Hungary. On the contrary, they're looking for reasons not to. And the Hungarian minority here is only a pawn for their maneuverings.
Felébe, amit kihúznak itt-ott is, hasznot kovácsolnak belőle. Sajnos.